What is up, guys? This is Astrologicals Racing, Dan here, and I wanted to show you guys what we got from the Etsy shop most recently. So this is a 3D printed race timer, and that is going to go onto the display next to me. And I have to tell you, man, the overall design and quality of this thing is pretty incredible. Just look at that. So you can buy this standalone case from the link in the description, 45 bucks. Look at this piece of art, man. Like this is actually very accurate. And even on the back, he didn't skip really any type of details here. As you guys can see, this looks pretty legit. And at first glance, when I first saw it on the shop, I thought it was made out of metal. So this is very good hardened 3D printed plastic. But I tell you what, man, this looks really good. I like the color. This is almost like a metallic blue. So it looks really good. Very realistic. So you can buy this as a standalone device. You could put one of your old iPhones inside here, maybe even like an old Samsung S8. What's really cool, I didn't have any old phones or anything that may fit something like that. So for this entire setup, including a phone, he includes a freaking Samsung Galaxy S8. Can you honestly beat that? It comes with literally, it's a like new, I think this is a brand new Samsung S8. So it comes literally with this. So it's already been charged. If I can unlock this real quick, right? So as you can see, it's a fully functional phone, right? And it already comes pre-installed with SimHub. How crazy is that? So you click on SimHub, right? And then you kind of just log in and you're able to basically turn this thing into a 16 different functionality lap timer. It tells you about different types of weather systems, it tells you the track temp, all this crazy stuff. So you just swipe through each of these functions while it's mounted into this. So let's just see how this looks when it's all mounted into here, right? So this should fit pretty flush inside of here as we're assembling, right? And you don't need to force anything. He emphasized this extremely. You don't need to force any of these components because they fit pretty perfect as is. So basically just like that. There we go. And then there is 4 screws that mount all of this together. And then your mounting system looks just like this. Now you can mount this horizontally or vertically. So I'm probably going to be mounting it so to the back. And if you guys can see, this is just a 3D printed, this is a 3D printed bracket here. And essentially all this does is go onto the back like this. Well, I actually believe that it goes on to the back just like this. And you pretty much just mount this wherever you can see fit. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing set up. Let's get it connected to the computer and see how this thing looks. So you guys are actually going to be able to see how I get in here, which is a relatively simple. All right, so as you guys can see, this is a rough setup on how it's going to be set up for now, but I just wanted to show you the basic functionalities and the benefits of having a lap timer like this. So honestly, this is one of the most incredible things that I was just talking to the guy that made it. I'm like, dude, this is seriously so incredible. But we're gonna try it on miles per hour first. Look how responsive this dash is to the right here. So, I mean, it looks incredible. There's 16 different functions. So it's not just a speedometer. It'll tell you, like for example, it'll tell you how far ahead the enemy is, or the opponent is. Enemy in some cases, I guess, right? How far ahead of he is, and then behind, there's a guy behind you. This shows you how many laps you have left and what lap you're currently on in position. This is showing fuel consumption. So it looks like we have 7.4 laps left before we're depleted. Looks like we have a leaderboard here also, which is actually pretty cool. We have car data, which is very useful to have. But yeah, that actually, I just passed the starting line back there and it showed my last lap. There's some more car data, so it shows the gasoline, traction control. You can set that over here. ABS, engine lights, all kinds of stuff that I never even realized how useful it was, but now I have a display for it. Here shows your brake temperatures and your tire temperatures, which is really pretty cool. So I mean, if it's kind of foggy out, maybe even early in the day, you'll actually be able to see all these live, which is really sweet. Some track data here. It shows how hot and how cold the track physically is, which is pretty freaking awesome. Oh, and then one of my favorites, this actually shows in real time your brake, your throttle, and your clutch, which is super cool. You can see all that data here popping up as we accelerate, as we brake, and you'll be able to see waves and everything on how that correlates on this little screen over here. And I also see your steering. I really like this, and this is one of my favorites for sure. And then your G-forces, you have a G-force limiter. See how much you're actually getting around corners and stuff. When you turn left and right, you're feeling like, you don't physically feel it, but you can see the forces. Current lap time, which is obviously one of the most commonly used and what this is really designed for. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. So is it worth it? Here's the verdict. I would have to say absolutely 100% yes. Looking to add some extra layers of immersion for me personally, I like the augmented experience. I have things in front of me that gives me more depth perception of what's really actually happening, and I can get more data on a smaller screen instead of it being spread out. I find it useful. Not only functional, but extremely useful, you know? So it adds more immersion. You have 16 different overlays of information. And the cool thing about it actually being the functionality of a Samsung S8 is that it hooks up to a PlayStation, it hooks up to your consoles. You're not limited to only PC, and he really wanted me to emphasize that this can also be used with consoles. So it's friendly in that regard as well. Price point, it's only 130 bucks for the entire setup. Most of these that have the PC only with the V-Core screens, they're great for what they are. But for $165+ plus shipping and tax, you're looking at almost $200 for a little component. That isn't even any of that. Plus you're getting more bang for your buck. It looks cooler, it's way nicer. Plus the guy that designed it, his name's Christian, and he is the lead senior designer at Toyota in North America. So that kind of tells you something. He told me after the fact, and I'm like, okay, well, I noticed that you didn't cut any corners here, so I'm super impressed. Overall, 10 out of 10, worth it, 130 bucks. Go check out the link, go support his work, and yeah, I think that'll be it. Oh, and one last thing, PS guys, I do have some really interesting stuff coming. So, as you guys know, you probably can't see it on camera, so this is giant pieces of PVC plastic. So as you guys know how I made my sim floor, right, to the side of the rig with all this cardboard, and I wrapped it in vinyl and all this. This PVC plastic boards, so it won't sag. So even if there's a little bit of humidity, which in Florida you're very susceptible to humidity or any type of humidity at all, these won't sag, and it's very flexible, or it's not flexible, and very versatile. So I'm going to be wrapping all of these. So I have one last thing, and I'm just so excited. I have to show you guys what my project is for this weekend. It's black diamond plate flooring. So this is all going to get wrapped. A lot of the components of the rig are going to be kind of redesigned, and yeah, so pretty excited for that. See how all this turns out. So without further ado, that will conclude this video. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying, and until next time, you guys stay fresh.